All right, folks, here is a video on how to memorize a unit circle using Chen's method. Okay, there is another video in this same Google Classroom posting on the stream that shows an alternate method from this other YouTube channel on how to memorize a unit circle, but this is how I do it. Okay, now keep in mind the only quote unquote challenge is how to memorize the purple highlights, which are these radian fractions right here. Okay, that is the only challenge. Everything else is very straightforward. Okay, so let me line these up over here. Okay, so let's get a couple things squared away. First of all, um, this right here, let's see what color I can choose. I'll choose charcoal, or let's choose beige. These four, okay, are super duper easy. Okay, I should say these four. Okay. And then obviously, this is 0 divided by 1 is going to be 0. Okay, you're basically doing sine divided by cosine. So tangent is equal to sine divided by cosine because, okay, because tangent is opposite over adjacent, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse cancel, okay, when you divide this by this, and you're left with O over A equals to O over A. Okay, so tangent equals to sine over cosine. So to get this 0, we're going to divide sine by cosine, which is y coordinate by x coordinate. 0 divided by 1 gives you 0. 1 divided by 0 gives you undefined, and so on and so forth. Okay, so beige highlights, including the tangents, are super easy. Okay, now let's start with the green and the pink highlights. The way I like to think about this is we're going to go around in a loop. Okay, with the green highlights, we're going to run a loop around and loop through the pinks. Okay, so we're only doing green and pink highlights now. Okay, and this is square root 1, square root 2, square root 3, square root 1, square root 2, square root 3. So we start from the bottom and loop our way around square root 1, square root 2, square root 3, square root 1, square root 2, square root 3. And that's what it says here. For the green highlights, start from bottom. And for pink highlights, start from top. Okay, and just square root 1, square root 2, square root 3. Orange highlights, all the denominators are 2. Okay, and basically, so with the green, pink, and orange highlights, that basically tells you the sine and cosine of the sine and cosine values of the first quadrant. And once you know the first quadrant, you just reflect it onto the other quadrants. So these coordinates are a reflection here. Okay, so basically all these here, let's go like this. All these are reflections starting from the first quadrant here, and you just reflect it. All these are going to be reflections starting from the first quadrant, and also all these are going to be reflections starting from the first quadrant. And so when you reflect from the first to the second quadrant, you just make the x values negative. When you reflect from the first quadrant to the third quadrant, you make both x, y values negative. When you reflect from the first quadrant to the fourth quadrant, you just make the y coordinate negative. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, that takes care of the green. That takes care of the green, pink, orange highlights. Okay, now let's talk about the gray highlights. The gray highlights, you can just a shortcut for the gray highlights is simply, okay, green divided by pink. Okay, let's start right here. Green divided by pink, okay, or let's put it this way. Let me just be consistent with my wording here. I'm going to go for the gray highlights, middle gray divided by left gray equals to right gray. So root 3 divided by 1 is root 3. Root 2 divided by root 2 is 1. 1 divided by root 3 is root 3 over 3. Okay, is root 3 over 3 here. So I'm going to go, let me show you why 1 divided by root 3 is root 3 over 3. Okay, so I'm going to show you this right here. 1 divided by root 3 is root 3 over 3. So 1 divided by root 3, okay, we are going to multiply top and bottom by root 3 to simplify. Okay, so I end up getting root 3 over root 9, which is root 3 over 3. Hence, 1 divided by root 3 is root 3 over 3. Okay, and the reason we divide is basically again, going back to tangent is sine over cosine. Tangent is a third value, which is equal to this fraction divided by this fraction. Now, when you divide 1 over 2, by root 3, okay, over 2, the 2's cancel. So you're really dividing 1 by root 3, which is originally what I said, middle gray divided by left gray equals to right gray. Okay, and again, just like we did before, you can reflect these, okay? You can reflect these tangent values, okay, to get the other quadrants, to get the tangent values for the other quadrants. Same deal with this, this, and this, okay? Same deal with this, 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 and this, okay? And blue highlights is super easy. It's just plus 30, plus 15, plus 15, plus 30. And so 30, 15, 15, 30, add it. 30, 15, 15, 30, add it. 30, 15, 15, 30, add it. Okay? So we're done with the blue highlights here. Okay? The purple highlights are the challenging one. Is really not that bad either. Okay? So let's decipher what I wrote over here. Okay? Let's start with the purple highlights denominator. Okay? So it's always going to be 3, 4, or 6. 3, 4, and 6. So the denominators for the top half of the unit circle, is 3, 4, 6 starting from the top. Okay, let me use red here. Okay, 3, 4, 6 starting from the top. 3, 4, 6 starting from the top for the top half of the unit circle, the denominators of the radians. Okay. This first, with the bottom half of the unit circle, it's going to be 3, 4, 6 starting from the bottom. Okay, 3, 4, 6 for the denominators of the radians starting from the bottom. So 3, 4, 6, 3, 4, 6 starting from the bottom for the bottom half of the unit circle, again for the radians. Okay, so that takes care of the denominators, how to memorize it for the radians. Okay, and so we just did this right here. Okay. Right here. Now let's talk about the numerators of the radians. Okay, so the top right is all you can see. It's all going to be pi's for, okay, it's all pi's. Okay, and maybe you can, one thing I just came up with literally right now, maybe you can think of, since this is the first quadrant, you can maybe think yourself this saying: first, I like to start with pies because I like to start with dessert in my meals. Okay, so first quadrant, I like to start with pies. Okay, I like to start with dessert. Okay, but obviously we shouldn't. We should eat our real meal first. Okay. Over here, the way you think about it is that the numerator is always 1 less than the denominator. 2 is 1 less than 3. 3 is 1 less than 4. 5 is 1 less than 6. Okay. All right. All right. Over here, you can think of it as, for these, you can think of the numerators as it's always 1 more. Okay. So 7 is 1 more than 6. 5 is 1 more than 4. Okay. 4 is 1 more than 3. Okay. Again, we're comparing numerators with denominators. Okay. And maybe one way to remember whether this is one less or this is 1 more is that we're going in this direction around the unit circle. Okay, so things are going from less to more here. So here is going to be less because we're going to hit that up first when we go counterclockwise. Okay. And here is going to be more because this quadrant's values are going to be more as we travel counterclockwise. Okay. So this is going to be one less, that's going to be one more. That's maybe how you can think about it. Okay. And now how do you memorize the numerators of here, the bottom right, excuse me? I like to think about it as high five, we're going to 7-Eleven. Okay. All right. So that's the way I think about it. So again, everything is pretty easy. All highlights, it's just the purple, it takes a little bit of memorization, maybe a little bit of a challenge. Again, focus on the denominators first is 3, 4, 6, starting from the top for the top half. Okay. 3, 4, 6, 3, 4, 6. Okay. And it is 3, 4, 6 starting from the bottom for the bottom half. Okay. All right. And then numerators, top right is always going to be pi. Okay. Top left, because top left comes before bottom left when you're going counterclockwise in a unit circle in order. Or let me just put it this way, top left values are less than bottom left, okay, because it comes earlier in this counterclockwise journey. 2, you always go one less. 2 is one less than 3, 3 is one less than 4, 5 is one less than 6, okay? And here it's going to be one more, 7 is one more than 6, 5 is one more than 4, 4 is one more than 3, okay? And then here for the bottom right, you just go high five, we're going to 7-Eleven, okay? And again, square root 1, square root 2, square root 3. Well, I don't need to repeat this. You can just rewind back. You can just rewind back to the video. Okay, so I like to reconstruct this unit circle from scratch using that method I just showed you. And these are really easy, obviously. This is pi over 2. This is, I just think of this as, this is 0, this is pi, this is 2 pi, which means this is pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Okay, so that's Chen's method. Hopefully that will help you out when you reconstruct a unit circle from scratch. The key is basically just construct the first quadrant and do a whole bunch of reflections. And for the purple highlights, just use these methods here. Okay, thanks for tuning in, folks.